It's 6 p.m. on a Friday here in Korea. Welcome to our newscast. I'm Daniel Che. Let us first begin with the headlines. After a survey of 3 possible sites, it's been decided that THAAD anti-missile system will be stationed at a golf course in Seongju because it's farther from residential areas than the location initially chosen. As the nation's military prepares to celebrate Armed Forces Day tomorrow, President Park Geun-hye vows a stronger alliance with the U.S. during a luncheon with the USFK commander. Just in time for Korea's nationwide sales event, more tourists from China are expected to visit during a week-long Chinese holiday that begins on Saturday. Finally, the South Korean government has settled on a new location for THAAD. The U.S. missile defense system will be deployed to the Lotte Sky Hill Country Club in Seongju. Kim Hyun-bin has our top story.
Defense Minister Han Min-gu told lawmakers Friday that the THAAD battery will be stationed at the Lotte Sky Hill Country Club in the northern part of Seongju, Gyeongsang-buk-do province. It's not a formal announcement, though that's expected in the coming days. The decision was made after a survey of 2 other possible candidate locations. The golf course lies 296 kilometers southeast of Seoul and is around 680 meters above sea level. The location is far from residential areas in response to Seongju residents' concerns about the potential health problems posed by THAAD's radar system. When the official announcement is made, the deployment is still likely to face opposition from residents of the nearby town of Kincheon, who have threatened to protest if the golf course were selected. Another barrier the Defense Ministry faces is cost. The golf course is valued at over $90 million, and the government will have to gain parliamentary approval for such a large budget outlay. THAAD is expected to be deployed to South Korea by the end of next year to better protect against North Korea's nuclear and missile threats. Kim Hyun-bin, Arirang News.
President Park Geun-hye invited U.S. Forces Korea's top brass to the presidential office for lunch as the nation gets ready to honor its military on Saturday. She expressed appreciation for the strong alliance between the 2 countries and vowed closer coordination against North Korean threats. Park Ji-won shares with us the president's remarks.
During a luncheon on Friday with the leadership of U.S. Forces Korea and related officials, President Park Geun-hye stressed the need for a strong bilateral alliance to resolve the security crisis on the Korean peninsula.
북한의 광기를 억제할 수 있는 가장 효율적인 수단은 한미 동맹을 토대로 한 연합 방위 태세입니다. 한미 동맹을 더욱 견고히 하고 빈틈없는 방위 태세를 유지해서 북한의 핵개발 야욕을 반드시 저지하고 한반도의 비핵화와 항구적 평화를 이루어 나가야 하겠습니다.
The U.S. Forces of Korea commander also vowed to keep the alliance strong and expressed confidence that the lessons gained from the recent Ultra Freedom Guardian exercise helps ensure that the allies will be victorious if called to fight.
We are an alliance, and we are honored to serve as an alliance defending the Republic of Korea and our national interests. And our alliance is unshakable, it's stronger than ever, and our actions as well as our words should make that very clear.
President Park noted that the bilateral alliance has grown into a more comprehensive global strategic partnership aimed at promoting peace on the international stage.
앞으로도 우리 2 나라는 세계 평화를 위한 길에 언제나 함께 할 것입니다. 주한 미군을 약어로 USFK라고 이렇게 파는데 Unbreakably Special Friends of Korea라는 생각이 듭니다.
Ambassador to South Korea Mark Lippert, South Korean Defense Minister Han Min-gu, and Joint Chief of Staff Chairman Lee Sun-jin, along with other key members of South Korea's military leadership, were also present at the luncheon. Park Ji-won, Arirang News.
The United States is stepping up efforts to block North Korea from accessing the international banking system as punishment for the regime's continued nuclear provocation. Our Kwon So-ah zooms in on the latest move to tighten the noose on Pyongyang.
Still not enough. The U.S. is further turning up the heat on North Korea's nuclear and missile ambitions, introducing a bill that aims to shut the regime out of the global banking system. Representative Matt Salmon, who proposed the legislation, said North Korea's nuclear program has to be stopped by, quote, preventing specialized financial messaging services to or direct or indirect access to such messaging services for Pyongyang's banks and financial entities. These services are necessary for global financial transactions by institutions as well as individuals. This means services such as the world's leading provider of secure financial messaging services, Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, or SWIFT, could even be sanctioned if the North uses it for cross-border transactions with foreign banks. More than 11,000 financial institutions in over 200 countries use SWIFT. Before sanctions were lifted on Iran under its nuclear deal with world powers, Iranian banks had been disconnected from the service, which had a massive impact on Tehran's gas and oil exports. The new bill on North Korea includes a requirement that the president personally sanction those accommodating North Korea's central bank or other financial bodies with such financial services 90 days after the legislation's enactment. Kwon So-ah, Arirang News.
The National Assembly is in a state of paralysis for a fifth straight day. The ruling Saenuri Party vows to boycott all parliamentary business until its demands are met. But according to our Ji Myung-gil, there could be a thin glimmer of hope for a breakthrough.
The ruling Saenuri Party opened the door to talks with the opposition parties on Friday. Floor leader Chung Jin-seok said he is willing to enter into negotiations with the floor leaders of the two opposition parties, but only if they acknowledge that Assembly Speaker Chung Se-gyun violated parliamentary law.
If the floor leaders of the three parties were to meet, we would have to start talking about how to require the Assembly Speaker to observe political neutrality and abide by the Constitution and parliamentary law.
The current parliamentary law does not include specific rules on neutrality, except that the Speaker is not allowed to be affiliated with any party while in the post. The ruling party says Assembly Speaker Chung abandoned his neutrality by helping the opposition parties pass a dismissal motion last week for the sitting agriculture minister. On the other side of the aisle, the main opposition Minju Party of Korea called on the ruling party to end its boycott immediately so parliament can get back to normal.
We urge the Saenuri Party to end its boycott and return to the audit. When it comes to people's livelihoods, there cannot be a ruling or opposition party. The Minju Party will carry on with the audit.
The minor opposition People's Party said this time the ruling party has gone too far after the ruling party filed petitions against the Assembly Speaker to the Constitutional Court and the prosecution.
The ruling party chair is continuing his hunger strike, and the party has even filed charges against the Assembly Speaker. This is just not right.
Park also said it is time for Assembly Speaker Chung to express some kind of regret for the current parliamentary impasse and that he should try to talk with the ruling party. Ji Myung-gil, Arirang News.
President Park Geun-hye on Friday afternoon met with the founder of Japan's biggest IT investment company, SoftBank. According to the top office, President Park met with the SoftBank founder Masayoshi Son, also known as Son Jeong-ui, at the presidential office to discuss cooperative strategies for investment in Korea and creating new industries. The Cheong Wa Dae said President Park planned to ask Son to expand his company's investment in emerging fields such as robotics, artificial intelligence, and the so-called Internet of Things. She was also expected to express hope for SoftBank to strengthen ties with Korean firms in the search for new growth engines and in creating jobs. Son had arrived in Korea the day before and met with Samsung Electronics Vice Chairman Lee Jae-yong to discuss business cooperation. The Korean government has rolled out a plan to overhaul the country's steel and petrochemical industries in an effort to make them more competitive in the coming 5 to 10 years. Shin Se-min provides a closer look at the restructuring measures introduced during a ministerial-level meeting on Friday.
One of the country's largest industrial sectors is about to get a massive overhaul. The Korean government says it has trained its restructuring efforts on the country's ailing steel and petrochemicals industries.
The plan is for the sector to become more competitive by putting out high-value, lightweight steel products. The government will work with the private sector to support the plan over the next 5 to 10 years.
Steel and petrochemicals manufacturers will be encouraged to cut their supplies of less competitive items and instead focus on retrofitting their facilities to produce higher value-added products. The blueprint for the overhaul reflects the current global demand. Korean steelmakers will be encouraged to develop thinner, lighter steel plates for use in smart cars, while cutting back on items like thick steel plates, steel pipes, and polystyrene. Those items are used to make large vessels, for which there has been a sharp decline in demand. The government, for its part, will provide tax breaks and financial support to businesses concerned with workforce training and research and development. As for now, the plan is just focused on the steelmaking and petrochemicals sectors. But Finance Minister Yoo Il-ho promised that the government will announce plans for overhauling the country's shipping and shipbuilding industries, which is currently the target of a major government-led restructuring drive early next month. He added the government is doing everything it can to minimize the impact of the crisis engulfing Hanjin Shipping, Korea's largest and the world's 7th largest shipper, which filed for court receivership in late August. Shin Se-min, Arirang News.
A national holiday that lasts an entire week begins in China. A massive number of people from that country will be flying out to make use of that long break. Kim Ha-sung explains why Korea is on top of their must-visit list.
It's Golden Week in China, the name for the week-long National Day holiday that starts Saturday and runs through the following Friday. According to a Chinese travel website, Korea is the #1 destination for Chinese tourists during Golden Week, followed by Thailand and Japan. In fact, the number of Chinese tourists visiting Korea during the holiday period has increased steadily over the years and is expected to reach 240,000 this year. Golden Week also coincides with the Korea Sales Festa shopping event this year, and there are already a number of Chinese tourists here in Seoul to hunt for bargains.
I heard about the Korea Sale Festa online and came here to check it out myself. There are many things to buy and it's cheap.
But it's not just about shopping in Seoul. Over 70,000 Chinese tourists are expected to visit Korea's southernmost island of Jeju, a 5% increase from the same period last year. And on the whole, air carriers are seeing their sales soar. According to Jeju Airlines, tickets from China to Korea from September 30th to October 5th are already 99% booked. Other Korean carriers saw reservation rates close to 90% on flights that run to and from China during the Golden Week period. Kim Ha-sung, Arirang News.
Over in the United States, at least one person is dead and more than 100 injured, some of them seriously, after a commuter train crashed into a station in New Jersey. An investigation into what caused the accident is ongoing. There's no evidence of a terror plot yet, but that possibility is not being ruled out yet. Park Jung-hong gives us the updates.
Witnesses say the morning rush hour train never slowed down before it smashed into a concrete barrier at the end of the track and plowed into Hoboken Station. The governor of New Jersey, Chris Christie, says the engineer in the train crash was seriously hurt, but is well enough to cooperate with the investigation. Pressed on why the accident happened, Christie said it was too early to speculate. He said the only thing known for now is that the train came in at a much higher speed than normal. The White House said it's not aware of any evidence the crash was caused by terrorism, but it's not ruling out the possibility.
This is something that the National Transportation Safety Board is continuing to look at, so I think it's too soon to rule that out. But at this point, I'm not aware of any evidence that would raise those kinds of concerns at this point.
Hundreds of emergency workers spent the morning shuttling in and out of the station to help the injured. The victims were carried to ambulances on stretchers, and several passengers had to be pulled out of the wreckage. Hoboken Station, built more than a century ago, was a scene of devastation, with part of its metal roof collapsed and mangled steel and shattered glass on the ground. Park Jung-hong, Arirang News.
Shifting gears to a different story now. On Friday, the Korean Women's Development Institute hosted the annual Asia-Pacific Forum on Development and Gender. Politicians, academics, and activists discussed ways to improve gender equality and deepen understanding of women's empowerment. Our Yoon Shin tells us more.
Politicians, scholars, activists, and others with an interest in women's issues gathered to find a way forward for their common cause, that is, a better life for girls.
I hope today's forum will allow us to identify the current issues related with girls, efforts to support them, areas of cooperation, and future direction to promote girls' empowerment around the world.
Serving as a forum to discuss practical global measures to improve quality of life for women, this year's Asia-Pacific Forum focused especially on understanding how gender policy issues relate to human rights.
Stressing the importance on education for girls, today's forum allows participants to discuss how to bring the world one step closer to gender equality.
Experts said education is not a privilege, but an opportunity to which everyone is entitled, and that it's the key to empowering girls, especially in the Asia-Pacific region. Also weighing in were Korean government officials who share their perspectives on gender equality.
Along with other nations, Korea also prioritizes this ongoing issue. Korea plans to deepen understanding of the importance of equality by developing and carrying out policies like encouraging women to get involved in social issues.
Obviously, this is a huge priority for the United States and its relationship with the Republic of Korea. Together, we are working around the world to help improve the lives of women and girls across a range of different sectors.
Providing a networking space among the officials, this year's international conference enhanced awareness on gender policy and provided a wide range of solutions regarding human rights. Yoon Shin, Arirang News.
That's all from me for now. This has been Daniel Chan. To those tuning in from outside of Korea, thank you for watching. For our viewers at home, Domestic Headliners with Devin Whiting is next.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Devin Whiting with your in-depth domestic news. Services on most subway lines in Seoul were back to normal today after the subway labor union and management reached an agreement to end a strike that started earlier this week. Services in Busan will also go back to normal, at least for now, after the union there suspended its strike. Kim Min-ji has the latest.
Subway services in Seoul returned to normal on Friday, the day before the Seoul Subway Union and management have reached a compromise over the implementation of a performance-based wage system. Under the deal, the adoption of the new wage system will be determined only after an agreement is reached between workers and management. For now, management has also agreed not to fire underperforming workers. Services will still be limited on subway lines 1, 3, and 4, which are operated in conjunction with railway operator Korail. With no agreement reached yet between the subway union and management, the workers will continue their walkout for now. Over in the southern port city of Busan, unionized subway workers there have decided to suspend their walkout. The union plans to resume wage negotiations with management next week, but said it will launch a second strike on October 21st if a compromise is not reached. Korea's subway and railway workers went on strike on Tuesday against the government's adoption of the performance-based pay system. It's the first strike by both unions in 22 years. Meanwhile, the railway strike is still in place, raising concerns it could cause major logistics disruptions. Freight operations have already dropped to below 30% of normal levels, and shipping volume has also fallen to less than half of the normal capacity. Korail said it will recruit 1,000 short-term contract workers starting Friday and hire an additional 2,000 later on if necessary. The workers will all be on temporary contracts and they will be on the job until the strike comes to an end. Kim Min-ji, Arirang News.
Korea's financial regulator will soon decide whether to issue a permit to what would be the nation's first online-only bank. A consortium led by telecom giant KT submitted an application earlier today to the Financial Services Commission to establish its online venture to be called K-Bank. The bank will be capitalized at 250 billion won, or about $225 million. The FSC will make its determination over a license by the end of this year. Another consortium led by Kakao, which runs the ubiquitous KakaoTalk chat app, is expected to submit an application to start a bank in November or December. Many Koreans are looking forward to a 3-day weekend with Gaecheonjeol, or National Foundation Day, coming up on Monday. That means major highways will be packed as people try to make the most of their time off. Kim Jung-soo reports.
The Korea Expressway Corporation expects traffic this weekend to be significantly higher than usual. More than 4.9 million cars are expected to use the nation's major highways tomorrow, which is 7.3% more than on average Saturday. Of those, more than 480,000 cars will be heading out of Seoul. Sunday's highway traffic will also be 16% higher than average, with more than 4.5 million cars projected to hit the highways. The Expressway Corporation predicts that traffic levels will gradually return to normal by Monday afternoon, on National Foundation Day, when more than 460,000 cars are expected to head back to the capital. As for the weather this holiday weekend, things aren't looking too bright. According to the Korea Meteorological Administration, the country's southern regions of Jeollanam-do and Gyeongsang-nam-do provinces are already getting showers, and starting tomorrow they can expect daily precipitation of over 80 millimeters. The agency expects the rain to move north, with Korea's central provinces getting over 200 millimeters on Saturday and Sunday. Kim Jung-soo, Arirang News.
And those are some of the stories we're following right now. Thanks for watching. More coming up at 8 p.m. Korea time. Bye for now.